to be recording this event so it can be shared out. So thank you so much. Once again, find the chat box down at the bottom. Let us know where you're tuning in from, select panelists and attendees. If you have any questions today as we're talking, feel free to use the Q&A box also at the bottom. Those will come in to us. And just before we get started, wanted to remind everyone that we are coming into this conversation from a place of trust and respect, and we are so happy that you're all here. So I'm going to hand it over to Lee Shell to get us started.
Thank you, Sabrina, and welcome everybody. Thrilled that you are here. I am Lee Shell of the Charlotte Advisory Board for North Carolina Outward Bound School, known as NCOBS. And in just a few minutes, you're going to meet our fabulous panelists, Alexis Taylor from NCOBS, Earl Hunter from Black Folks Camp 2, and Sam Ryder from the U.S. Forest Service. But before I hand the webcam over to Ken Lawson, our moderator, who also happens to be the interim executive director of NCOBS, I just wanted to take a few minutes to explain the reason why we're hosting this event about connecting more to the outdoors. And basically, in a word, it can be summed up with COVID. Prior to the pandemic, the Charlotte Advisory Board would host a breakfast, a fundraising event for the Charlotte Unity Project. And this was a time primarily it was for you'll hear more about the Charlotte Unity Project later on, but the fundraising breakfast was primarily for a Charlotte audience. And it was getting people together for a fundraising event to hear testimonials from the students. And it was an event that everybody looked forward to. They were inspired and it was time together. And like so many other in-person events, we couldn't host it this past year. But be on the lookout because we hope to be able to resume the breakfast next fall. But with the outbreak of the pandemic and all the tragic loss, an unfathomable loss, and I don't want to make light of any of that, there have also been some positives that have come out of it. One, people have a new appreciation for family and friends and community and those connections, what those relationships bring. Also a new appreciation, or sometimes a newfound appreciation for the benefits of connecting to nature and getting into the outdoors. Learning new skills has been another benefit. Zoom users went in a period of 3 months to something like 10 million to 300 million. I'm one of those new users, and people of all ages learning this new technology. And one of the benefits of that is that we can reach more people, that we're connecting with people that otherwise we might not have connected with before. Our community is bigger. And finally, resiliency, pivoting instead of plummeting, and just discovering how strong we really are as individuals and how we can really come together as a community. So it's a combination of all these things as to why we're here today. Unable to host the breakfast, the Charlotte Advisory Board pivoted. We put our collective heads together and decided that we wanted to offer a program that had some of the same components as the breakfast, but also offer, mix it up a little bit. And so we're connecting and building community and doing that around an important issue. We wanted to put together this panel of experts in the outdoor industry to talk about this important issue and share some of their insights to deepen our understanding of not just the barriers that exist, but also some of the great work that's being done to overcome those barriers. And we wanted to take advantage of the fact that because so many more people have access to this technology and know how to use this technology, that we can reach more people and we can grow this community beyond just meeting in person. And so that comes full circle to building and growing community. I believe at the end of this hour that you are going to walk away feeling, having had some thoughts challenged, but you're also going to be inspired to act. And on that note, be on the lookout in your email for a couple of emails from us with some links to resources that will be helpful. And to those of you who were the first 100 to register, be on the lookout for a small thank you to be coming in the US mail. And before I close, I want to thank the Duke Energy Foundation for their very generous grant to the Charlotte Unity Project this past year, as well as our 4 pillar sponsors of the breakfast. These 4 pillar sponsors have supported the breakfast for a number of years, and that's Crowder Construction, Dixon Hughes Goodman, East West Manufacturing, and Merrill Lynch. To these organizations and all Unity supporters, thank you. So finally, in closing, the event name Circle Up dates back to, it is a time-honored outward bound tradition where at the end of a long day in the wilderness, a challenging day in the wilderness, the crew comes together and circles up, links arms, and has a moment of reflection and connection. Someone reads from a book of readings and then ends with peace, love, ciao, and to which everyone responds, ciao, love, peace, and then dinner is served. So I want to share with you two readings. The first, if you want to touch the past, touch a rock. If you want to touch the present, touch a flower. If you want to touch the future, touch a life. And that author is unknown. If you think you're too small to be effective, you have never been in bed with a mosquito. Betty Reese. Peace, love, ciao. Enjoy the program. Thank you.
Lee, thank you so much for that introduction. I'm Ken Lawson. I'm the Interim Executive Director of NCOBS, and I'm so pleased to have you, our guests, and our panelists to engage in a dialogue that we can share thoughts and focus on, our main purpose is not to change the world, but to change each life through our school, but to make sure that we are open to new voices and welcoming. We need to learn what barriers exist and how we tear those down. So today, as a family in this Circle Up, I'm going to ask you a series of questions, poll questions, to see what you think about things we can do to expand, and also question our panelists to hear their thoughts on how we can expand and grow. So what I'm going to do is, Sabrina's going to post some question. I'll read it to you. You'll go through the options. We'll take 30 seconds for you to decide on your answer, and then we'll go through it. First question, of the following, which is the biggest barrier preventing more people from enjoying more of the outdoors? You select what's the best answer for you. We'll take 30 seconds, and then we'll go through the answers. Please, go ahead. All right. I think we have some time to select your thoughts. Sabrina, were you able to tabulate the answers and responses? Under A, we have a number who picked perceptions that the outdoors can be dangerous and risky. A few who believe perceptions that enjoying the outdoors require going into the forest. Now, also lack of experience, so hesitancy to go into uncharted territory. And then the last one, lack of companionship to experience the outdoors combined with a lack of role models, frames of references who enjoy the outdoors. Thank you for those responses. Now I'd like to turn to our panelists, introduce them one by one and ask what would be your thought. And first, let me introduce to you, Alexis Taylor. What do you think about the response? What would you say? Alexis, the floor is yours right now.
Yes, good morning, everyone. My name is Alexis Taylor. I am the Charlotte Program Coordinator for North Carolina Outward Bound School, and I'm responsible for our 3 amazing, fully funded programs that we offer in Charlotte. One in particular is the Charlotte Unity Program, which I'm so excited to talk about a little bit. But my choice was actually the popular vote, which was D, which is a lack of companionship to experience the outdoors. And the reason why I say this is because even if you are either afraid or unknown, if you can find a group who is willing to explore that or have a little bit of experience, when you're able to go out there, it pushes someone to kind of get out of their comfort zone and get in the outdoors. So my choice was D.
Thank you, Alexis. Now I'll introduce Sam Ryder. Sam, from U.S. Forest Service, what are your thoughts? And introduce yourself briefly, please.
Hey there, yeah, I'm Sam Ryder. Grew up in Roanoke, Virginia, as I think one of the slides said. So I see a lot of people from North Carolina, so grew up in a not too different place from y'all. yeah, currently work for the U.S. Forest Service as the National Rec Planner. Held that gig about since November. And what is recreation planning? What does that mean? So it's basically the long-term kind of behind the scenes integrated planning with other resource areas that then show up as those trails, those areas, those opportunities, those amenities that folks enjoy on forest lands. Yeah, I grew up in Roanoke, Virginia, went up to Northern Virginia for school, started my career working for the Department of Energy in DC, migrated out to Hawaii for a little bit, working for Department of Defense, and then made a home here in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. Have been working for the Forest Service since for about 5 years now. And like I said, sitting in my current seat for about 5 months now. So let's see. Poll question. I'm gonna bend the rules a little bit since I didn't have to click a button, and that might tell you a little bit more about me too. I'm gonna say both A and C. Perceptions that the outdoors can be risky and dangerous, and lack of experience, so hesitancy into going to uncharted territory. Just for me, I think that both of those combined, they're just inextricably linked, and they get to that underlying context of safety.
All right. Thank you, Sam. Appreciate it. Last but not least, Mr. Earl Hunter, would you introduce yourself and also what were your selection from the poll question, sir?
Well, good stuff. First of all, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this panel. I'm actually taking this call from North Carolina Central University here in Durham. Last night I had an amazing camp out, couple-day camp out with the director of the state of North Carolina in regards to state parks, Mr. Dwayne Patterson. It was amazing. We had an opportunity to do some amazing things and have some amazing conversations. Again, my name is Earl B. Hunter Jr. I'm actually, I was a former executive in the outdoor industry, in the RV industry, which is a $144 billion industry. I was actually one of the only Black executives in that particular industry. I was able to take a previous company, from about $815,000 to $17.5 million in business in the span of 4 years. And so I left that industry because I felt like I can help the industry. Well, I left the RV industry because I felt like I can help the entire outdoor industry in regards to focusing more of their attention on Black folks and why Black folks do camp, why we camp, and when can we camp more, and the reasons why we don't camp, right? And so our company is called Black Folks Camp Too. The word "too" is very important for folks because it means as well and also. So we already know that Black folks camp. Our job is to encourage more Black folks to camp. As a matter of fact, our mission is to remove fear, add knowledge, and to invite more Black folks to camp and enjoy the outdoor lifestyle with any and everyone. Through that, we promote unity, which is the amazing campfire in our logo. And is the unity blaze. This means treats everyone, everywhere equally. And if you're wondering who everyone and anyone and all folks are, it's all of you. With that being said, I believe that all four of the questions are keeping or can help improve the outdoor lifestyle, right? I believe that fear, since we are not a group, we are a company. We share our data with different companies out there, whether it be in the outdoor industry or all over. We have data that shows that fear is number one. We also have data that shows that knowledge is number two. And number three is that there's a lack of invitation, right? And that either that's coming from the industry or coming from other lifestylers, right, in the organization. So I think that all of them, right? And we really need to tackle those, and we will. And I think that, so you guys have my answer, all four of them. That's how I roll.
Sounds good, Mr. Hunter. Appreciate it. I appreciate all three of our panelists. Now, I get to play Oprah today, and doing so, I have some questions for our panelists. Now, the first question, for all three, and we'll start with Sam, then Earl, then Alexis. Do you have an early memory of an unexpected, unanticipated benefit from being outdoors?
Yeah, so mine's not necessarily a specific memory, but kind of overarching. So from age 7 to 16, I had a huge privilege of my grandparents sending me to a camp down in Abingdon, Virginia. It's now closed. Anybody familiar with South Holston Lake? So for all those years, I was a month every summer. I was doing water skiing, riflery, archery, canoeing, sailing, and learning all these skills. And, I don't know how conscious of it I was at the time, but in retrospect, I just gained so much confidence and empowerment through that I don't think that I otherwise would have. And certainly felt much more comfortable and empowered than other environments that I was in throughout my life in my youth. Full disclosure, I'm gay, and I knew at kind of an early age I was different in that way. So beyond just, the normal youth stuff of like going through the awkward stages and figuring out who you were, definitely had a little bit more extra confusion on top of that. And I think just really those being able to have the opportunity to be outside in those environments every summer, hone those skills, have that self-reliance and all that, have that camaraderie with my friends there. Just it really shaped me into who I am.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Mr. Hunter, your thoughts?
Well, so I gotta be frank with you. I never really enjoyed the outdoors as a youngster, right? For those very same reasons that I shared with the folks there. Fear. My great grandmother told my grandmother, told my mother, told me, don't go in those woods. That's what white folks do, right? You don't go in those woods. That was a scary place for them. And so the outdoors, being in the industry, I was a Gucci, Louis Vuitton wearing, sports car driving executive, closing deals all over the country, the world before I got into the outdoor industry. And when I got into the outdoor industry 4 years ago, I found that the outdoor industry and the lifestyle was something that I couldn't live without, to be frank with you, right? I never knew the peace and the tranquility of the outdoors. I never knew what a nature bath was, right? In my mind, honestly, I was like, man, when people tell me about nature baths, I'm like, man, white folks taking baths in the woods, that didn't make a lot of sense, right? Well, that's not what it was. It was really just going into the outdoors to listen to the birds, to feel the wind, right? To understand, to just look up in the sky and see these amazing trees. And so there are two instances that happened for me. Number one, I traveled around the country for years, for 300,000 miles around the country, selling in a product. So I was away from my family. So my son and I, he's 7 years old, we took a trip around the country. It was a work trip because he had said to me, Dad, so looks like you go on vacations a lot, right? And he didn't know I was really out there working because I wasn't at home. So I had an opportunity to take my son on a 3-month trip around the country. We went to 49 campgrounds, 20 states, from North Carolina to British Columbia, and we stayed at campgrounds and we only saw one Black family. That's number one that kind of shaped me and shaped my mindset into starting Black Folks Camp 2. And secondly, I am now a addicted backpacker. That's what I do. Right? I love backpacking. And it's because those individuals who invited me to go backpacking, they removed fear, they added knowledge, and they gave me an invite that I could not turn down. And it was so amazing. And now what I do and what we do as a company, we encourage that. And Ken, in your earlier statement, Black Folks Camp 2 as a company, we are going to change the world. We're going to change it.
All right. Thank you, Earl. Earl, Sam, great answers. Alexis, what are your thoughts?
Absolutely. I have, I would go out, the most I probably did outside was, I did spend 8 years in Virginia Beach. So I did do outdoors like fishing and the beach. But for me, the real true love that really developed for me was when I was in high school. And I actually got a scholarship opportunity to do the North Carolina Outward Bound Unity Project, which is incredible how full circle it came, because the scholarship opportunity I was provided in high school, I'm now working in over it to provide more students for this opportunity. And so with the Unity Project at that time, we were in several different high schools, which we're in now. And it was a fully funded opportunity for me to go on, at that time, a 9-day backpacking course, rock climbing course that also had the focus of social justice and diversity. So not only are you taking a lot of students from Charlotte, many of us never been in the outdoors. Charlotte is a city, maybe not to Northerners, but it is a city down south. And so many of us never really experienced the outdoors like that in regards to backpacking, in regards to really being out there. We're in the Pisgah National Forest. And not only that, you're around a whole bunch of strangers from your high school. Our high schools in Charlotte-Mecklenburg are around 2,000, 2,500 students, so it's very large. You're not knowing everyone in your high school. And now you're thinking of high school things that you have going on and all the things that happen in high school and social justice topics as well. We are taking all of this at once and putting us in the outdoors with no showers, and at that time, no phones, which wasn't as big for us. We didn't have social media then, but with no phones still as teenagers. And I absolutely loved it. It was hard. It challenged me in every way, physically, emotionally, every single type of way. We learned about each other so much, my crew, in that short period of time. And it was a way to break down what we didn't know this term, maybe some unconscious biases we had, some things of assumptions, and understanding that there are certain kids, students who are going through stuff that adults shouldn't even go through. And just to be able to have that open platform to talk without any distractions, disconnecting to reconnect, absolutely changed my life. Obviously, so much so that, over, I don't know, I guess 14 years now later, I decided to work for the same organization that provided me for that opportunity. So I would have to say the Outward Bound Unity Project, Charlotte Unity Project, was a thing that changed my entire life, and it benefited me from being in the outdoors, because what Earl was saying, I was invited, and through our instructors, they were able to break down so many fears and assumptions that we were able to have. And then we were able to get to the nitty gritty and enjoy the outdoors while enjoying each other.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, Alexis. What you just said, it's about unity, coming together, understanding the different pieces and breaking down the barriers. All right. This next question is for Earl and Sam. And I'm going to ask you two this question. Sometimes our outward bound mindsets make us think of enjoying the outdoors with backpacks in the middle of a national forest, right?
Yeah.
But it's a lot more than that, isn't it? What do you think about that, Earl, and then Sam?
Well, so I came out of the RV industry, and I got to tell you right now, 2020, the RV industry had one of the best years they've ever had in the entire history of the outdoor industry, right? Or the RV industry. And you have RVs from $10,000 to $400,000. If you ride past an RV dealership right now, their lots look empty, right? So other folks camp. And by the way, Black folks camp too. So we know that folks are camping, and we know folks are doing all types of camping. And we believe the barrier of entry for camping is to make camping feel comfortable for folks, right? It's their experience, right? Everybody doesn't have to put on a backpack and through hike. I like backpacking, but I'm not gonna through hike. That's not my thing, right? My thing is I like having good food when I'm camping, right? I like having good conversation, good beverages, and things of that nature. And a lot of times you can't take all of those good things when you're backpacking. However, I've tried to do it because I like my pork chops, so I take those with me. With that being said, I think we tell folks to camp your own camp, right? Camp how you like to camp. Just get outdoors and enjoy the outdoors, right? Because the more folks we get camping and enjoying their camp, the more folks we get to take care of the outdoors and take care of the most amazing place on earth, which is nature, right? And so I say RV, cabin, yurt, backpack, camp in your backyard. Hell, I don't care where you camp. Just go camping, right? It doesn't matter.
Understand. That was break down some barriers, right?
Right on.
Yeah. Sam, your thoughts on this question?
Hey, yeah, I love all that, Earl. Totally. I feel like at times, especially sometimes in like clothing industry portrayals, there's like recreation shaming of like, if you're not climbing a 14er, if you're not bombing down some chute in the backcountry, if you're not rafting the biggest rapids, then you're not doing outdoor recreation. And it's just the same as Earl said, like, I work for the Forest Service, so of course I want people to be aware of our forests and grasslands and recreate there. But yeah, go in your backyard, go in your neighborhood, go local park, state park, any sort of green space. My old office used to have this great little community green space behind it. It was great. So I think that part of breaking down some barriers is just like that messaging of like, you don't have to be extreme. Just go outside and enjoy yourself. Enjoy some pork chops with Earl.
Right on. I'm gonna have
There you go. There you
guarantee
go.
that fried and grilled.
There you go. There you go. It's about breaking down those barriers and connecting, unifying. Now, Alexis, I'm sorry, are we gonna say something?
I was just gonna say conversation. We listen. Our company's called Black Folks Camp too, but that don't mean exclude everybody else. As a matter of fact, we want everybody else to come around the campfire. We don't care about your race, your age, your gender. we all have something to say, right, around that campfire. And that right there is the center of it all, right? Having those conversations and have those conversations without biases.
That's right. That's why you got the flame on your shirt. Unifying,
Right on.
right? There you go.
Right on.
All right. Now, Alexis, this question is for you. Okay. Now, this question is, do you think that an expanded view of what enjoying the outdoors is will encourage more families to go outside? I mean, tell me, frame it like in terms of like your childhood, what you saw, what you're experiencing now with Unity.
Yeah, I think also just combining with what Earl and Sam already said, again, breaking down that perception that you need to be in the dead middle of the forest by yourself doing things is a huge thing. Take it small. Going outside, even sitting on your patio, is something big. I know sitting on your porch step, going for a couple of walks, coming back, taking it that small. Understanding, yes, there are a few barriers, right? Not everyone has opportunity. Many people don't have sidewalks to go outside and walk in. They may not have the opportunity to get to a park, but starting off small, going outside, having the conversations, and just breaking down, taking it step by step. For me, what Unity did was, yes, it was an extreme one because I went from not really doing the outdoor thing into completely going from 7 days or 9 days backpacking and rock climbing. But if you take it back a step, just take it down, going out for your walks, making sure that, hey, grab your mom, your grandma, your auntie, your cousin, go for a simple walk and enjoy the outdoors. And what happened with the pandemic is that it reminded us that the simplicity of things, of having the conversations and enjoying each other is the most important thing, and doing it also in the outdoors. If you can, right? Doing it safely by doing something very simple. Go outside in your patio, go right to the stop sign, come back, and then continue to go progress further and further and do more things in that way. And then last thing I want to say, just encourage any groups that you find, organizations, right? There's many organizations that we have here, Outward Bound included, but go look at your organizations, look at Facebook group meetups. There are great group meetups that like do simple walks or parks. Again, that's that invitation. You may have to do a little research, but when you find that invitation, go to it. So make sure you look at all the organizations we're talking at now, look at some Facebook group meetups and find people to get you started.
Wonderful, wonderful. I love that. I love that. Well, it's great discussion with the panel. I want to get our guests involved too. Next question. Now, imagine a group of 12 students from a huge high school. Many are strangers to one another. Some are strangers to the outdoors. What is most likely to happen when they do a week-long outward bound course in a national forest? Now, we got 3 options. Pick your best option. We'll take 30, 40 seconds, let you fill it out. We'll sum it up. Go ahead, please. All right. Sabrina, do we have answers to show our team? All right, here we go. It looks like, the first one, about 35% agree that they discovered they can live without cell phones. It's hard for me. All right, the second one, discover qualities about themselves. 53%, that's good. But the majority said discover bonds with one another, thanks to shared challenges and an immersion in the outdoors. That's a beautiful thing. And with this next question for our panel, and I'm gonna tee it up with Alexis, then maybe ask Earl and Sam if they have any thoughts. It goes really to our Unity program, bringing different people together, talking, breaking down barriers, ensuring that those who perhaps didn't come together through our program. And Alexis, you've been, lack of a better word, you've been, preaching the word. This question. So if we talk about expanding the view of experiencing the outdoors and about barriers to experience the outdoors, about benefits, including some that are unexpected. A lot of the questions that people submitted to us earlier focus on learning about ideals, initiatives, programs that have been successfully introduced to bring more people to the outdoors. Share your thoughts from your experience with Unity, please.
Well, yes, and I know I've been speaking about a lot because seriously, not only is because I work for the organization, but it's near and dear to my heart. When I tell you it was life-changing for me, it seriously was life-changing. And it is because this is an opportunity where you are breaking down the barrier of cost. With the Unity Project, we provide transportation to and from Charlotte to the Pisgah National Forest and back. We provide all the major gear, such as your tarps, your sleeping bags. The only thing that you have to worry about is actually providing your clothing. And if at any point any student needs help, that does not turn them down. We have an amazing Charlotte Advisory Board who's hosting this that actually comes together and provides anything that's needed for students. We have an amazing philanthropist who's donating hiking boots this year to all of our 50 Unity students who will go on course this summer, which is very huge. When you have those barriers broken down, because yes, when we do something this, you do need some gear. When you have the financial barriers breaking down, it's amazing how much ease, not only the student, but the parents or the guardians are as well, because they are students doing this. So by having this organization that can provide a fully funded opportunity, you are now allowing students of the Charlotte-Mecklenburg community to experience something and learn something new, while also breaking down their own barriers that they may have, while building their network as well. Because once you're a Unity alum and also a North Carolina alum, you are in our family forevermore. There are amazing people at the Charlotte Advisory Board who are there for the students. If they reach out, we create this large network. And the thing I want to pinpoint is that Charlotte, back in 2013, Charlotte City, we were ranked dead last when it came to social mobility and upward mobility, meaning that the city ranked dead last in education and opportunity and networking and family stability, dead last out of all the cities. And it's because we don't have many students with either mentorships or opportunities. A student will not know their passion, or a kid will not know their passion or what they love if they never provided the opportunity to do so. If I didn't have that outward bound experience, I wouldn't have known I have this passion, not just for the outdoors, but experiential learning and bringing people together. If I didn't have that experience, I wouldn't have known that. Right? If my grandma didn't experience or introduce me to some type of art world or a museum, I didn't know I had a love for the arts as well. And I combined these two loves I've had into a career. But it was because I was introduced to it. Unfortunately, not everyone has that opportunity in their families. So as an organization, we're providing this opportunity as a nonprofit organization for our Charlotte students and many others, but particularly our Charlotte students, high school students, and also educators, for this opportunity to do the outdoors. So it's a long thing, but all this to say is having opportunities, having groups, having people to introduce you, to invite you, the things that we've been saying can really make a big, big difference in experiencing outdoors.
And that sounds great. I mean, what you're saying is about, again, having those resources that help lift people up and get beyond where they were. So it's not a floor, but we're talking about growing towards beyond the ceiling. Now, Earl and Sam, what do you think about this? And also, what are some common characteristics to these approaches to really reach out and bring more people in? Sam, you first, then Earl.
Yeah, so first, I couldn't agree more. Definitely co-sign on experiential learning opportunities that Alexis was just talking about. The other thing, putting on my public lands hat here, is jumping on volunteer opportunities. There's tons of friend groups that really like a specific area on Forest Service or grasslands or even state parks and that sort of thing. So you could volunteer to be part of a trail project. Or if you don't want to get down and dirty, then you could do like wildlife counts, those sorts of things. And it's just volunteer opportunities. They're free, they're guided. They give you equipment. You learn something from it. You might make a friend or two, and it's low stakes because you're giving back, might feel good about it, and then you're being introduced to that environment, and then kind of getting some ownership and stewardship from that as well.
So Ken, that's probably one of the greatest questions I've heard asked so far today, because listen, as a company, we spend 20% of our time talking about the reasons why Black folks or people of color have not been in the outdoors. And we spend 80% of our time how we're going to fix it, right? And we're not going to be able to fix this alone. We know that as a company. So there are groups like Outward Bound. What you guys are doing is extremely amazing. However, I got to tell folks this, though. it's not just the job of Outward Bound and the job of Black Folks Camp 2 and the job of other organizations. It's the job of everybody listening to this call or who on this panel to help people get in the outdoors. We all pay for 640 million acres of public land together. And so if we want to see more people in the outdoors and enjoying the outdoors, you can't just pat Earl on the back and say, wow, you guys are amazing company, you should go do it. Or pat Outward Bound on the and say, hey, you should go do it. Listen, once you understand the reasons, particularly why Black folks hadn't been in the outdoors in regards to generational fear and no knowledge and lack of invitation, if your heart is not willing to want to go help that, then you need to stop going to these DEI meetings, right? You got to stop going to these places and feeling all sad and bad. If you truly want to see the outdoor lifestyle and the outdoor industry inclusive, you need to do the work yourself, right? Not saying I'm not going to help you do the work, but you have to do the work yourself, because at the end of the day, when Black, look, the outdoor industry is 90% white, okay? That's not a bad thing. That's not a horrible thing. That's an opportunity when you have 0.6%, 0.8% of Black folks, particularly in the outdoor lifestyle and in the industry. It should be the people who are on the 90% of the folks should say, well, if I really truly want the outdoors to be more inclusive, maybe I need to do one of the biggest things to do. I need to find me some Black friends, right? And I need to take me some Black friends in the outdoors. And if I don't have any Black friends, this is the greatest time in America to go find some, right? And so when I talk about solutions, we don't poke holes, right? We plug holes in regards to a company. And so I think the greatest thing that can happen is for companies to really talk about the unity blaze, right? And talking about unity, because we didn't create a company just for Black folks to go camping with just Black folks. That would look like what the industry looks like on the other side. We created this company for Black folks to be around the campfire with any and everyone. That includes white folks, green folks, orange folks, all folks. And so if we are perpetuating, if we're talking about unity, and we're talking about how amazing unity is, well, everybody should be a part of unity, right? And everybody should want to do this work, right? That's how I feel about it. And we don't deviate from that, right? We don't deviate from that. Don't just pat us on the back and tell us how great we are. You know, we want you to get rid of Black Folks Camp 2 as a company. We want this company not to be here. We shouldn't even be here in 2021, right? Particularly when we know the history of what how the outdoors has not been that formidable to many Black folks or people of color.
Well, I tell you what, Earl, what your words, and Sam, what you said, and Alexis, you all bring it back to the one word, unity. And our call to action as a group, as NCOBs, is to be unified, get outside and embrace it, but also bring some others along.
That's right.
And understand that we are here to tear down those fences, those walls, cut the grass.
Right on.
And get people out there to enjoy. So I'm going to pop up our next poll question involving our call to action to get people outside and ask you to go outside. Bring a friend, though, and bring a friend who perhaps felt, I couldn't go before. Let me understand how I can help them get out now. Sabrina, our next poll question for our group. Imagine committing to spending 2 hours a week outside, or even to being intentional about inviting others to spend time outside with you each week. Which of the following benefits will motivate you the most? And you got 3 selections. Let's take 30 seconds and let's think broadly about yourself and how to bring others and tear down some barriers. Go right ahead. All right, Sabrina, we got some answers. Pop them up. All right. The leading answers, the first one, the emotional health benefits. Third, the physical health benefits. And then second, the spiritual health benefits. I mean, those are beautiful answers. And I think it really goes to, our call of action to stretch and grow beyond our own experiences to understand others and bring it forward. And let's get aspirational, okay? Again, we're not here to save the world, but we're here to inspire each other. and one person at a time. And I'm going to ask this general question, okay, of our panelists. All right. I'm going to ask Sam go first, Alexis second, and then Earl last. If you could magically make one change with the intent of making the outdoors more accessible, and we've talked about a lot of things already, you got that magic wand, what would you do? Sam, you're up first.
Yeah, I'm gonna ride Earl's wave a little bit because man, I hope all of y'all out there can just feel his energy and passion. It is just intoxicating. It's awesome. Thanks, Earl. I guess if I had a magic wand, I think that everything that we're talking about requires a cultural change, a social evolution. And that sounds really intoxicating, or sorry, getting my words mixed up. I'm intoxicated by Earl. It sounds really intimidating and lofty. And I think that the bottleneck to getting there, getting to that cultural shift and that social evolution is that bottleneck is universal empathy, which is kind of what Earl was getting to. And so back to the question, if I could magically make one change with the intent of making the outdoors more accessible, I would just magically eliminate bias. Conscious bias, unconscious bias, just whoop, eliminate it. And just with that elimination of bias, get to the social and psychological aspects of accessibility to the outdoors as opposed to just the physical. So that's what I would do. Eliminate bias.
Alexis, your thoughts? Thank you, Sam. Thank you.
Yeah, this question made me go so wide, but I know this is just, magically, but I'm actually going to scale it down and I'm going to steal Lee's vision, our Charlotte Advisory Board Director. She talked about it. It's just having a facility in Charlotte. And that can expand to other cities, but having a facility in Charlotte, and we see one in Philadelphia for North Carolina Outward Bound up there, but a large facility that can actually host many different schools and organizations where you do have a large rock climbing course, a whole bunch of things that you can do in there. And this is why I say this, for a Unity project, I love it, but you are taking students to the extreme a little bit. You are sometimes some students are going from 0 to completely backpacking, and it's nothing wrong with that. But there are sometimes, realistically, some students cannot because they have to work or take care of home. Or there is still that type of fear. Like I still have to really encourage students to sign up for something this large. So I would like it in between where we can have students and adults and all the people. Maybe there is a little fear of going out there. Why don't we have Outward Bound instructors come in with guest speakers like we are now, have a facility where we can host that, do outdoor activities, experiential learning, all that. And then you can really get your toes wet. And this would be a facility where all you have to do is sign up and it's free. There's no cost. That's my dream and vision. And that's how you can maybe introduce more and more people to do more things. And particularly for our groups, for our Charlotte program groups, I would love to have that as that starting point to get more students introduced to it. And then before going to them completely outdoors, then that's the kind of an in-between point. That's actually a small but big vision. And I have to shout out Lee for that because we spoke about this before.
That sounds good, Alexis. It's about,
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lee. No, Lee, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say this, you gotta crawl before you walk, you gotta walk before you run. And just being sensitive to those things so people can evolve is so important. And again, it's about taking each person. Can't change the world, but can change someone's experience. And then that's what we mean by, tearing down those barriers. Now, Earl, bring it on. Bring that energy.
Well, so here's the thing. If I had a magic wand, I actually would change the history, right? I would just zap the history and say, look, grandma, great grandma, I wish you were able to go in the woods and to experience what I've experienced today in my life. But I understand the reason why you didn't go in the woods. I understand that you saw those heinous things. I understand that you said, look, that's not a safe place for me. I get that. But I wish that history had changed because what I'm experiencing right now in the outdoors is amazing. Listen, I dealt with COVID myself, and it damn near killed me, right? And so however, I backpacked over 130 miles last year, and I know my body was ready to fight that, right? There's so many other folks out there that look like me that could really evolve from diabetes and heart disease and things of that nature in regards to the outdoors. And so we have to get this outdoors and get this vitamin D inside of us in regards to Black folks. And I continue to talk about Black folks because, in all honesty, my job, my mission, my legacy is to see more Black folks around the campfire in the outdoors. This is the reason why I'm on the campus of North Carolina Central University. We started the toenail. We need to get people educated about the outdoors. The more young folks we get educated about the outdoors, the more they'll educate younger folks and the more they'll educate other folks. I believe in education. I believe that we can't take out millions and millions of people in the outdoors. So we believe in our DEI. And our DEI doesn't mean diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our DEI means digital education initiative. We believe that once you educate folks and show them that they can go do this on their own, they'll go do it, right? You want to hold some folks' hands, but again, I don't necessarily believe in that either. I think folks, when they see something they want to do, they go do it. That's why the sports world is so big. That's why you have so many other things are so huge. People will do what they want to do as long as they're invited to do it. And as a matter of fact, you know, you talk about, I hear the word accessibility a lot. I live in Brevard, North Carolina, one of the most beautiful places in the world. We have waterfalls all over the place. We also have a small Black community, have never seen those waterfalls. So you can talk about accessibility and that's all well and good, but we know for data that the fear, the lack of knowledge, and the lack of invitation is what kept folks from the outdoors. And so I don't have a magic wand. However, I have a magic voice. And I think that the Unity Blades, making people feel comfortable, giving folks, the people who are in the lifestyle right now, the 90% of the people who are in the lifestyle right now that don't look like me, man, it is your duty to get more people in the outdoors, not so we can just have a good time. It's so that more folks will start caring about the outdoors. Hell, if we don't get more people caring about the outdoors, who's going to vote for the things that keep our outdoors amazing, right? Who's going to vote for it? You think it's going to be the 65-year-old white folks that are actually love the outdoors now? They're going to be gone in the next 10, 12 years, 20 years. So we have to get more young people, Black, white, green, or yellow, to care and love the outdoors, right? And we have to do that through education. Education is the deal, right? And I believe in that. And we're at the toenail of the elephant right now when it comes to education.
That's beautiful. That is so beautiful. That's so beautiful. And when we're speaking about education and experiential education, that's where our heart is at Outward Bound. And, you know, Alexis and the Charlotte Advisory Board, it's like right there, you know, spreading the word, bringing people together. But, you know, as a leader, you know, I want to make sure I have people who look like me, don't look like me, don't think like me, realize they can come to us and realize they can have a singular experience.
Absolutely.
Focus on that person growing and developing.
Absolutely.
And, you know, and we're having a dialogue. I just want to ask any of our guests, you know, for a few minutes, because we will have one more poll question. But right now, for a few minutes, anyone in our audience want to ask any questions of our panelists or give suggestions on how Outward Bound, the North Carolina Outward Bound School, can continue to evolve as it opens arms to different people, to our singular focus, and help someone love themselves, love others, and know they can do more than they ever thought they could. So, yeah, a question in the chat room for one of our panelists or comments. Let's see. Sabrina, we got anything up?
We did have a question. We've touched on it a little bit, but if a few people want to talk about specifically bringing people from urban environments and introducing them to the beauty of the wilderness.
Yeah. Any thoughts, panelists, on that? Because you know what? We have community-based programs at Outward Bound, and we're continuing evolving. That means we're doing good, we want to get better. So Any thoughts?
I have a thought, and Alexis, I think you probably do have one as well, but I have a major thought here. I think the number one thought is stop folks who are in this call or in the industry and the lifestyle, stop answering the questions for folks, right? Ask the question and then stop answering the question for folks. When you invite folks and they say that they're fearful, or when most Black folks tell you that they're scared of bugs because they don't go in the outdoors because they're scared of bugs, we have debunked that. We know that's not a true state. We know that's not something that is kept Black. That's something that's kept us out of the outdoors. But we know that that statement is a fear. And we know that because I'm a 45-year-old Black male. I'm a good times kid living a Huxtable lifestyle. I have folks at my house that look like me cooking out all the time. And the bugs, the same bugs that are around my grill are the same bugs out in Pisgah National Forest where I go hang out and have a good time. So I know that's not the case. I think one of the greatest things we can do is to incite and excite parents, because young folks are not going into the outdoors on their own, right? We have to incite parents and get them excited about what's going on. We can't just take the kids out of the household for the most part and say, we're going to take you and then going to bring you back, because the parents will never take them again. The parents are not going to do it. We know that because we have data to prove that. Thus being said, if you love the outdoors, right? Now, this is very important to say this. And I use this a lot in regards to my analysis, is that there are a lot of folks on this call that would never go to my old neighborhood and stand at the corner store and raise their hand for 30 minutes and say, hey, I'm here. Well, how are you going to expect the folks that lived in my neighborhood to go to a trailhead? They know nothing about it. They're scared, right? And so how do you take them? We have to educate them digitally, right? And then folks will start reaching out to want to go do these things. And when they reach out, you're going to have a program where they say, come on, let's go. Let me show you how to do this thing, right?
Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you,
Yeah.
Earl. Go ahead, Sam, what you got?
Yeah, I just want to piggyback off of what Earl said, is that, similar programs here in Denver, speaking to the coordinators, the resounding message that I've gotten is, yeah, listen to what people want and need, because more times than not, unfortunately, people with the deep pockets to help, or hey, access to these grants or whatnot to do things, they say what would help, and they don't listen. And the only answer that they hear and that they've already fabricated is trips to the mountains. And that's not necessarily what these groups and communities are asking for. A lot of times they're asking for, hey, this beat up basketball court is really gross and it's got a lot of trash and all this stuff. Like, can we dig this up and make it into a nice little community park or garden or that sort of thing? Because as we were talking about earlier, that recreation can take all forms of going into your backyard, going into your neighborhood. Well, if you don't have that space in your backyard or your neighborhood, you're not going to be able to do that. And you're not going to be able to just, kind of eke in there and dip your toe in. So being able to listen and put money towards what's actually needed and introduce people that way in the comfort of their own environment, in a different way of experiencing their environment. And then, as Alexis was saying, baby steps, then go to the mountains later if they want, or just hang out in that new nice garden.
That's beautiful.
I know.
You know what, Sam, one thing I love what
Yeah.
you said, actively listen to one another. Yeah. Alexis, you got some closing thoughts on this question before we go to the poll question?
I'm not going to repeat too much, because literally these are so many gems being dropped right now. But I will put in that all these things it's what we're trying to do actually within the Unity project. Not only are we taking the kids outdoor, they are responsible for doing 2 projects at school to really help change what's going on in their school.
Absolutely.
So it's not just a one and done, let's throw you in the dang on wilderness and that's it. You have to come back and you have to show continuation. You have to show change and initiative. However, what we're speaking of as we're shifting and changing our minds, and COVID really allowed us to do that. We had to deepen, get into that creative thinking that I don't think we've touched in a while. But what are other ways that, again, those baby steps? Can we do a local meetup at a local park, right? And do a cleanup? Can we have a local meetup just to have a conversation? And then what are these things that we can do to continue to take these baby steps for our students? And I keep on talking to students because these are the ones I work with before our students. And then these ideas can lead to other things. So ultimately, all the things we're talking about, if you're inspired, if you work for an organization, if you're trying to volunteer, take these things and bring it to your community. And that's what we teach our kids in Charlotte, not just Charlotte students, but bring it back to your school, bring it back to your neighborhood. And that leads to bigger change.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Good.
You know what? As the leader of Outward Bound, just hearing that, what we can do again, actively listen, realize that all efforts, small, medium, and large, matter, but focus on meeting people where they are to perhaps help them expand. So that's just great. Now, with that, I want to just share the last poll question for our guests so they can hear their voices. Which of the following are you most likely to do to help create more opportunities for more people to experience the outdoors? You got three selections. Take 30, 40 seconds, pick your best answer, then we'll share. To influence your thinking, I like answer A a lot.
I love it.
All right, all right, all right. Sabrina, are we ready to share? All right. So support the Unity Project, okay? Number two, invite people who might be hesitant and or inexperienced to enjoy the outdoors with you. Please do. Again, our discussion is about breaking down barriers, reaching out, bringing people, and taking the time to help them grow. And last one, take learnings and added fuel from this circle up to learn more about, barriers and opportunities in your area. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. You know what? Great thoughts, great advice and guidance, and also a great call of action.
Yeah.
For each one of us. It's not about what race, sexuality, where you're from, North Carolina, Colorado, it doesn't matter. What matters is that we together reach out
Right
and
on.
help one another, right? I want to wrap this up and I want to say thank you to our panelists. But before we end this panel discussion, I'll ask each person for some brief final thoughts. A sentence, not a paragraph, but in that powerful sentence, what do you have to share as we close out? Sam?
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna glance down here because I jotted down a couple notes.
Okay.
Again, putting on my Forest Service public lands hat again. I think that public lands are a geographic repository of our history.
Yeah.
The history that Earl was talking about, that he wishes that magic wand could erase a good amount. And I think that our public lands, other than offering, recreation opportunities, are places to learn about and reflect on the past to then inform the present and the future. And to that, I think that stewardship of our shared lands, because everybody owns these lands, stewardship of our shared lands is linked to stewardship of our society at large. We're people. We're all people, just trying to make it through life. And to have stewardship, you need the experience to get to the appreciation and the comfort first, which is everything that we've been talking about. I think that there's also a clear link between, just like stewardship of our shared lands and stewardship of our society, there's a link between outdoor ethics and human ethics, just inextricable link. We're all living things, working and living cooperatively, hopefully respectfully, hopefully with empathy. And it would just be really great to live up to this land is my land, this land is your land. In the song that we all love, I'll spare you my singing. And, back to that magic wand idea, all of this sounds really big and intimidating again, but broad culture shifts can happen. And I'll give you a small example of an analogy that was given to me recently of it used to be that people would ride their bikes or go down ski slopes without a helmet. It's just, that's how it was. And now people wear helmets all the time. So it's like, my desire is to see human and outdoor ethics and inclusivity be as much as a mainstay as wearing a helmet. And, I love Black Folks Camp 2's motto and mission to remove fear and add knowledge, because that subtraction and addition is super powerful to anybody. So I'll leave it at that. Those are my thoughts. And again, it was an honor to be on this panel with these two incredible people. So thanks.
Sam, you're incredible. Thank you for your words. Thank you for your wisdom and your dedication to our country, to all our citizens. I'm grateful for you. Earl, any final thoughts to share with our folks?
Well, Ken, first of all, I just want to thank you and thank Outward Bound and thank Leah and Bruce, and more importantly, Sabrina and your staff member. She's been absolutely amazing.
Yes,
Contact has been beautiful. And you, everybody wants a team member like that. You know, I'm looking to hire somebody like that. All right,
you can't have her. You can't have her.
I know it. And so I just want to say this, that we have to treat everyone everywhere equally, man. Particularly when you have folks who are babies in this, we have to treat everyone everywhere equally. If you truly want to do something good, it's easy to do right now. Support Outward Bound, support the Unity program, support Alexis and her group. Look, it may not look like what you think it should look like, but until you come up with something better, support the folks that are out here doing some work. Don't spend 80% of your time talking about why something does not work. Spend 80% of your time on helping something to work, right? Look, I'm not a sugarcoater. I'm not a shoulda, woulda, coulda, shoulda guy. You're not going to tell me that the grass is green on the other side. I'm just going to start watering mine. I just want to make sure that folks on this call, the people who are listening to this, support Outward Bound, support the people that are out here making a difference, right? And then that will then help you even feel in your heart that you're making a difference. The second thing is, I would say to you, follow us on social media, Black Folks Camp 2. Follow us, because we're going to lead you to Outward Bound, and we're going to lead you to other organizations that can really do some amazing work. But what we really are going to do is we are going to be very delightful in our approach, right? We're going to be very delightful in our conversation. And if we don't, with our conversation, with our mission, if we don't encourage you to want to go do the very things that you've been saying you want to do in all these DEI meetings, if you don't want to go out and make the outdoors truly inclusive, then stop saying it. Because you're going to have to do something. You're going to have to talk that talk. You're going to have to walk that walk. And if you don't know how to do that, support Outward Bound and they'll show you, right?
Yeah. Hey, Earl, first, thank you for, the support of Outward Bound. But more importantly, thank you for the work you're doing. That flame that's in your heart, not just in your chest, that flame that's in your heart,
Unity Blaze.
Inclusive. It is a unity flame to bring everyone together to understand that, you know what, as Sam said, this is our earth.
We'll change the world, baby.
All right. You change the world while we at Outward Bound NCOBS try to change one person at a time through our experiences.
Right on.
And passing that unity flame on to Alexis to bring us home. Alexis, close out the panel, please.
I mean, I need a bigger bag. There's so many gems being dropped today. So thank you, Earl and Sam. This has been such an amazing time. And for those who are watching, really, it is getting out there. It is doing. It is finding something that you want to hold on to, that you want to make a difference in, and by supporting it. Because there are organizations out here that's doing the work, and you have to go ahead and support it. Are we saying our organizations are perfect? No, not at all. But what we're doing is we are constantly trying to make an effort to become better. And that's the biggest thing. For North Carolina Outward Bound, we are of over 50-year organization. Have we done everything right? Absolutely not. Who has? But what we're doing is we are trying to make a difference, and we are making a difference, and we're going to be better each and every time. I wanted to make a difference. Unity struck and hit my heart, and I never let it go. When I had an opportunity, I was invited to be on the Charlotte Advisory Board member. As a 22-year-old Black young woman coming straight out of college, I was asked to be on an advisory board. And because they broke down that barrier, because they took away, you don't have to pay a fee to be on here, we want you, that allowed me to continue my love for Outward Bound and the Unity Project for 6 years before me joining staff. So because of that, I was able to stay connected. So I encourage you, if you have the opportunity to connect and bring someone out to do anything, invite someone in if you have that opportunity to. If you're being invited, take that leap, break those barriers, stretch your comfort zone and do that. And I'm telling you, it'll make a difference. And definitely support Outward Bound. Not only are we doing things in Charlotte, we're based in Asheville, but North Carolina Outward Bound is huge. We have programs in Florida, in Atlanta. We are really trying to meet, we are movers and shakers, and we need support to make it better. Right now, our Unity kids are going out this June. We are excited for them, but we have a program for our Charlotte adults as well. Listen, support these organizations, get outdoors, and truly try to make a difference in someone's life. I know Outward Bound did for me, and I'm getting chills thinking about it because of that opportunity that was given, I found my passion in my career. So please continue to give someone that, invite someone in, and when you're invited, take that leap.
There you go, there you go. Hey, let me say this. One, thank you to our panel. Our guests in the chat function, if you just type the word thank you, send some love to our panel. I just want to just send this appreciation because what you brought today to our NCOPS family, wisdom, joy, and suggestions on action steps we can take to be more active in our listening and then apply those things we hear to continue to evolve as an organization. So thank you. And to our guests who are on this, this Zoom call, where we're having lunch, not breakfast, going from, say, maybe our oldest member with Rufus Dolphus at 95 to our youngest high school Unity member, we are together with one word. And that one word for all of us is love.
Right on.
Loving each other.
Right on.
Loving our communities. Loving our country. And realizing that if we touch one person and help them grow, meet them where they are, understand our purpose, but then try to break down those barriers, they can not just enjoy the outdoors, but enjoy life. That's when we have an impact every day, every moment. With the spirit of love, as a leader of this organization, saying love to the Charlotte Advisory Board and your years of support to NCOPS, and sending love to every person on this call, thank you. Have a great day. See you later. Bye-bye.
Cheers.